Hey, what's going on, bros? Listen, today I have something special for you. I wanted to talk about these new paints that I've recently acquired. And when I say recent, I think I got them in like yesterday, and I started to use them yesterday. Only used like 3 colors, but immediately I fell in love with these paints. Now, just to go over some of the paints that I've used in the past to give you a baseline of what I am familiar with, and mind you, what I'm going to point out now are just paints that I use now. But in the past, I've used quite a few others. Most of them I've stopped using either because they don't sell them anymore or because I just were not crazy about them, at least for action figure customizing, which is specifically what I will be talking about today. So the paints that I typically use today range from, let's see what we have here. I have, and I'm just giving you sample ideas of these paints. Let me get this to focus. These are just samples. I've got a ton of them. These are your Vallejo model colors. We have Vallejo game color. We have Vallejo mecha color. I have a ton of Vallejo paints. They're cheap, they are affordable, and they come in way too many colors to choose from. I use a Formula, come on focus, Formula P3 paint. I use Citadel colors. Now, these Citadel colors, or these Citadel paints, they're not all labeled as a color because these are base paints. The Citadel paints, I love. The only problem I have with these Citadel paints is that they tend to dry out fairly quickly in these bottles. I also sometimes use Tamiya or Tamaya, not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sometimes I'll use these, but these aren't your true acrylic paints. They do have a smell to them. I think they are a bit toxic, but I do like using these in an airbrush. They suck for hand brush. And then these are other paints that I used to love, your Model Masters acrylic paints. But this line has been discontinued, so you can't find these anymore, so really these don't even matter. So anyway, those were paints that I've always used. And as far as customizing action figures, I gotta tell you, painting was probably my least favorite part of customizing a figure. I love gathering bits and pieces, fodder and whatnot to put a figure together, prime the figure. I always prime my figures. But when it comes to painting, I've always found it to be a tedious process because painting acrylic paints are not the easiest until yesterday. I found these paints, and I'll be honest, I do not recall how I found out about these paints. I don't know if it was through Facebook, Instagram, or the many hobbyist sites that I follow, but I saw these paints. I saw people talking about them. I saw the comments in the ads. I started watching YouTube videos, and it seems like nobody had anything negative to say about these paints. So I decided to pick some up. I will leave a link to the company that sells these paints, and they are Monument Hobbies, but I will leave a link to it in the description of this video. They sell these in sets of, I think, like 20 something bottles in a set for like $100. They sell sets, I think, for like $50. But I purchased these bottles individually because I wanted to pick and choose which colors I wanted as opposed to what was already in the set. Don't quote me on this, but I believe if you purchase a certain amount of bottles and more, you get a discount on the bottles. I'm not sponsored to talk about these paints. I'm not an affiliate. I don't even know whether or not they even offer affiliate. I just love these paints so much that I wanted to talk about them, specifically for action figure customizing. And I say that because every single YouTube video that I've seen were using these on miniatures. And because of that, I was not too sure how they would work with action figures. And the 3 paints that I've tried, I fell in love with them immediately. Perfect for action figures. I'm going to show you right now. Now, this figure that I'm going to show you, let me just get it out of the way before you even see the figure, is not complete. I primed the figure. I started to paint him with these Pro Acrylic paints, but he is far from complete. Actually, let me not say far from complete. He's pretty close to being done, but I do still have to work on him some more. But I do have to complete him. I did not want to wait to do this video for me to complete the figure to talk about these paints, and this is why the figure is currently incomplete. Okay, so this guy right here I put together, and I started to use the Pro Acrylic paints on him, minus everything in black. Everything in black was airbrushed primer. But the gray, the orange, and his blue visor were all used Pro Acryl paints. Now, what makes these paints any more special than any acrylic paint? I don't know how, and I laugh because I really don't know how. I don't know how they've managed to pull this off in an acrylic paint. I don't know what kind of witchcraftery, what kind of voodoo went into these bottles, but check it out. This is why I love these paints. Look at the vibrancy of that orange, and my phone is having a hard time focusing, but look at the vibrancy of that orange. Look at the vibrancy of that blue. And here's the kicker. Orange, the blue, and the gray, these are all one coat. If you do customize figures and you paint them, you'll know that light colors like orange, something like yellow, light blues, light greens, whites, they're really, really tough to paint. And what is advised on how to get those colors down on your traditional acrylic paints is to water them down and put light coats. The problem there is that you would have to do a light coat, let it dry, put down another light coat, let it dry, put down another light coat, wash, rinse, repeat. And you've got to do that quite a few times with light colors. You don't with your grays or your blacks and whatnot, but with light colors you do. Several coats. And I kid you not, sometimes I put down over 5 coats just to get a somewhat of a solid color, and still sometimes have a bit of the base show from underneath. Unless I'm airbrushing. 1 second, I think my music stopped here. It did, okay. I like having music playing in the background. All right, so what made this paint special, at least for me, and this is a game changer, I'm not kidding, it's a game changer, is that these went down with 1 coat. Let me see if I can get this focused properly so you guys can see. 1 coat. Look how vibrant that is. Now here's the other thing with this paint, with light color paints. This is on a black base. And if you guys know anything about these light colors, as customizers, you would probably want to paint these light colors on a figure that might have been primed in a light gray or even white, because these light colors will show the black figure underneath bleed through. And this is why you have to do many light coats. So the fact that you can get this 1 coat and it be such a vibrant color, that's fantastic. That, in my opinion, for customizing action figures is indeed a game changer, because you waste less time painting your figures which leaves you more time in putting together your figures and doing other stuff. One thing I wanted to mention about the paint is that they are also very matte, and customers love matte figures. Not customers, I'm sorry. Customizers love matte figures. This is why they paint their figures and then they'll spray them down with a matte top coat. But these paints, incredibly matte. And here's the thing, I have not sprayed this with a clear coat yet, and I'm not sure whether or not I have to. If I used any other acrylic paint, those paints could rub off easily. Plenty of times I'll be customizing a figure, painting, and you have to handle the figure as you paint them. And as you handle the figure, you'll see paint rub off of the figure. So it's like you'll have to do parts of the figure, let it dry, come back and do other parts. No, this dried, and look, I'm gonna do this with my fingernail. Let me see if you can hear it. I'm gonna scratch this with my fingernail, nothing coming off, no scratches. If I did that with acrylic paints, especially Vallejo paints, I find Vallejo paints to be notorious for this. If I do that with other acrylic paints and I do not seal them, that paint would scratch off the figure. So already 2 bonuses there. One, actually quite a few bonuses. One, you only have to do 1 or 2 layers. I kid you not. And that's it. To get down beautiful, vibrant colors. 2, very matte. Love that. Love that in an acrylic paint. Very matte. And 3, very durable. The visor, if you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, that's glossy. Well, yeah, I did put down a gloss, medium, sealant, whatever you would call it, to give the visor a glossy look. I did want that. But Jesus, look at that. That is one layer. Come on, focus. 1 layer. Look at how vibrant that is. None of the black showing from underneath. Love it in this paint. Love it. Absolutely love it. As far as value for the paint, because I know many people will choose cheaper brands because they are cheaper. Let's talk about that. I think this comes out to maybe $3 or $4, or $4 a bottle, depending on how many you purchase, whether or not you get them in a set. And you may at times be able to find Vallejo for the same price, or maybe less. I'm not sure. But first of all, Vallejo is 17 ml bottles. These Pro Acryls are 22 mLs in the bottle, so you get more in your bottle for your Pro Acryl than you would for your Vallejo. Let me look at Citadel. Let's see if I can find how much is even in here. 12 mLs. Okay. So it looks like 12 mLs are in here. These dry out quick though, so you don't even get to use all the paint that's in these bottles. Another thing with these bottles is that they come with a ball inside. I don't know if it's a plastic ball or a glass ball. Let me see if you can hear it. There you go. That helps in breaking up your paint when your actual acrylic medium starts to accumulate at the bottom. And then you have your liquid medium that accumulates to the top. So of course you shake your bottles because you want to break them up and you want to even them out. You want to shake your paints. With these other bottles, you don't get that, even though you could purchase the balls separately and pop them inside. But these, every single one of these bottles already come with a ball inside to shake these bottles up. So yeah, there you have it. It's not a ton to say other than really, these paints are absolutely fantastic for action figures. Do yourself a favor, look these up if you have not heard of these before. Look it up, watch some videos. The videos you will see will be towards the miniatures. which the durability and whatnot are not as important in a miniature. But you'll see them say nothing but positive things about these paints. I love these paints. In my little exposure thus far with this paint, I have found that these paints blew away all the other paints that I've used. I've been customizing action figures for about 9 or 10 years now, and this is the first time in those 9 or 10 years that I've ever been excited about paint, because painting is tedious. And these new paints will allow you to paint a whole lot easier and quicker than using those other paints. Seriously, guys, give it a try. Hit up the website. If you don't want to spend money on a set or on a bunch of them, buy 1 or 2. Give it a try on your figures, and you'll see that these paints are a whole lot better than the other paints that we as customizers, as hobbyists, typically use. So yeah, if you have heard of them, if you've used them, if you want to talk about it, go ahead and hit up the comment section here in the YouTube video. And yeah, like I said, pick some up, give it a try. I'm pretty sure you will not be disappointed. Me, I'm gonna go out and pick up some more. I've picked these up. I didn't even bother counting how many I bought, but I am gonna pick up more because I love them. Oh, and one more thing before I let you guys go. I found out yesterday, as I was watching more videos on Pro Acryl, that they also have a primer. They have black, like a dark gray, white, and I think the YouTubers were saying that there were other colors as well. I'm not sure. But they've rated, the various videos that I've seen rated the Pro Acryl primer to be a bit better than the Stynylrez primer, which is what I typically use. I used to use the Vallejo primer, which I cannot stand because it's thick. It goes down rubbery and peels off easily. But if this primer, or if this primer from this company is better than Stynylrez, then I'm on board with that. So I will be picking me up some primer as well. So yeah, there you have it. Beautiful paints, vibrant colors. I mean, look at that orange. Look at that blue. Just look at it. Seriously, guys, you will like it. You will not be disappointed. Give it a try and let me know what you think. I'll catch you guys on later. Oh, by the way, I'm not finished with this figure, but I may do a video finishing up the paint job on him after this video. So maybe in a couple of days, you may see another video hit the tube. But yeah, catch me next time. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys appreciated the little bit of info that I've provided regarding these paints. Yeah, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.